Hi everyone, and welcome to this series of videos in which I am going to start explaining how I created several of the charts that appear in my latest book, The Truthful Art. First of all, I would like to talk about what this first lesson is going to deal with. In this first lesson, I am going to show you how to work with an open source free tool called Insight. Insight is a tool that was created by students and professors from the University of Auckland in New Zealand, particularly Professor Chris Wilde, who is the main leader behind the creation of Insight. Before I begin teaching how to use the software and then how to connect it with other software tools, I would recommend that you go to YouTube and you search for Chris's series of videos about statistics, because they are really fantastic. If you go to YouTube and you search for Chris Wilde and statistics, you will find his series of lectures, Wild about statistics, which are related to an online course that he taught a while ago. And I have discovered that this is one of the most wonderful introductions to exploratory data analysis with visualization and other methods that I have seen. You know, if you have read my latest book, The Truthful Art, you probably know that around half of it deals with exploratory data analysis. So this lecture is going to be more or less about that, how to explore data using visualization. Now, Insight is based on a programming language called R, the letter R. If you go to Google and you search for R statistics, you will find the link to download the console to use that programming language. This is not something that we are going to use in these videos, but just be aware that I do use this programming language to create some of the charts that you have seen in the Truthful Art. Now, the thing is that if you are lazy, and I am extremely lazy, you find a hard time using software tools like R to create your own charts. You would prefer to use some sort of graphical user interface that will enable you to create R graphics without having to touch any code. This is what Insight is about. So Insight is a graphical user interface to R, for R. Okay. So let me explain a little bit about the workflow that I follow to create my own charts. I'm going to go to this software tool over here. This is called Adobe Illustrator, which is a graphic tool a software tool that most graphic designers that I know use on a regular basis. It's certainly one of my tools of choice for creating statistical charts and maps and diagrams, etc., and other kinds of graphics. And this is a series of charts that I created for the United Nations a while ago, showing how certain metrics have changed throughout the years. For example, poverty rates, or number of people who go hungry, or number of people who only make $1 a day. So let me just focus on this one. For example, this is no poverty. All right, is each one of these dots represents one country in a year, and you can see the trend line. Everything is going down from the 80s to the 2010. This is a hunger, and then there is also mortality, right? Mortality rate, child mortality rate. So this is the child mortality rate of children under 5 per 1,000 live births. Okay, so each dot is a country in a year. So for example, you have this country over here, and then you will see the trend line over here. So the thing is that I don't generate these charts directly in Adobe Illustrator. That will be a nightmare. What I do is to create them first using a tool like Insight, or the programming language that Insight is based on, R, and then I export that chart and then I style it in Adobe Illustrator. So let me illustrate that here. So this is the code that generates this chart over here. Let me show you how that looks like. Again, don't be afraid, don't be scared by taking a look at these lines of code. This is not what we are going to do. Okay, let me just erase this thing over here. So I'm going to just click on that and run the code, and the code automatically generates this chart that you have over here. So I save this chart as a PDF or as an SVG, which is another format that I usually use. Then I open up this chart over here and then I style it. Okay, I change the colors, I change the title, etc., etc. Okay, so what we are going to do is to mimic this process. In this lecture, what we're going to do is to mimic this process, generating the base chart and then style it in Adobe Illustrator. But instead of writing the code in R, I am going to teach you how to do that with Insight, which is a wonderful tool. And we are also going to learn how to explore data and start extracting stories from the data using this tool.